Welcome back to episode 6 of the Nymore Boys podcast. My name is Mitch. Nope.
You fucked up bad, didn't you?
Yep, I did. All right. Welcome back to the 5th episode of the Nymore Boys podcast.
5th?
Is it 5th or is it 6th?
6.
Welcome back to the 6th episode of the Nymore Boys podcast. I got that one right this time.
Yeah.
My name is Tyler. I'm joined with Mitch. Make sure to follow us on all of our social medias. They are all linked down below if you are watching on YouTube. If you are listening on Spotify or any of the other platforms, it is Nymore Boys across the board. Check out nymoreboys.com for some merch. I've got some new stuff coming up pretty soon here.
Yeah, and some orders coming through.
Some top secret. We do have a couple orders coming through. First order, shout out to Katie, Mitch's girlfriend.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for that.
Hell yeah. Much appreciated.
It let us iron out some of the kinks that we had on the website, so
yeah.
everything looks to be good now.
Yeah.
So she was kind of our test subject, you could say.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we do really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's new, Mitch?
Not much. Same old, but I just want to say congratulations to the St. Louis Blues for winning their first Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
Actually,
dude,
the
that's
longest
awesome.
drought ever for Stanley Cup.
First in 54 years, I think I saw.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was the longest drought that any team in the NHL has had. I think the Kings had the second longest, followed by the Washington Capitals. Where after that, because they never won a cup and they won last year.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a super cool story. The St. Louis Blues were under 500 coming in the year of 2019. I don't know if you knew that. They were like, I believe they were 15 and 19 and like 3 or something like that. So yeah, they were one of the like last place teams in the league at the month of January.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a long season.
Talk about a turnaround.
Yeah, and that's one thing I like about the hockey season is it's, you know, the way I look at it is there's two teams. There's a regular season team and there's a playoff team. You can use these examples of Tampa Bay. Absolutely amazing year they had, but they got swept in the first round. So you look at them, and so on the flip side, you can look at the St. Louis Blues, who did not have a good record by any means in the month of January, and they absolutely turned it around. Oh, what's up? And they absolutely turned it around, and this was, like I said, this was super cool to see because, and I don't know if you saw the story of that one girl that has that disease, Lila.
Oh, I didn't really ever look too far into it, but I saw it on Twitter, and then I saw a couple times last night when I was watching the game that they focused the camera on her. But besides that, I didn't ever really look too far into it.
Yeah, no, this was a super cool story for sure. Did you know like what was wrong with her?
No.
Or what her condition was?
No.
So, sorry.
Make sure you're talking to the mic, Mitch.
Yeah,
People can't hear you.
I'm sitting here. I just want to make sure I have it right so I don't get it wrong. But yeah, so she had a disease, and this disease, she's one of the 15.
There's only 15 people in the world?
Yeah, one of 15 people on the planet that have this disease. She is suffering from a life-threatening autoimmune disease, and it says that it's
autoimmune disease? Does that mean that it just like...
It's called HLH, which is... It's a super long word. I'm not going to try to pronounce that and embarrass myself. It says which only 15 other children have in the world. Her love for the Blues is like obvious. And this girl, so basically she had a bone marrow transplant, I think, earlier in the year. She couldn't travel anywhere, so her travels were really limited. So she could only go from her house to the hospital, back and forth between there. And then she got news that she was able to attend a St. Louis Blues game.
Yeah.
The games when they were at home. And this is super cool because they ended up...
This is a playoff game?
It's playoff games.
Okay.
And so she was finally able to go. And there was a video on social media the other night where there was her mom, and she said, "Hey, Lila, something along the lines of, we're going to Boston to go watch them play in Game 7.
I think I did see that.
Yeah, so this was really cool. So she got to go see that. And there was just a lot of cool storylines. I think she was probably the biggest one. It was really neat to see because... I think these guys really, I think she was part of the success that they had, and, it was really cool, and, like I said, it's just absolutely nuts, and there was a guy who put, I think, a $400 bet on the Blues to win the Cup in January, and they had one of the worst odds, and he won, I think, $120,000 off of it.
Jeez.
But one of the guys, his name's Pat Maroon, he's a St. Louis Blues native. Like
Okay.
he's from St. Louis, but over the years, he's kind of been bounced around from team to team, trades, free agent signings, stuff like that. And every time he got traded or he moved or he signed with a new team, he would go, but his family, so his son and his wife would stay in St. Louis. And this year, I think he took a pretty hefty hometown discount because he just was kind of sick of being away from his family. So he stayed home and, got to, be with his family, which was really cool. And I don't remember which game it was, but he scored a overtime winner, I believe. It was either a game winner or an overtime winner. And his son was there in attendance, and it was a super cool moment. Cool. And Pat Maroon had a really good thing with this Lila girl. He was basically saying, he's like, yeah, like, we're going to do this for you. Like, you're part of this team. And it was just a super cool moment. And at the end, when they brought the cup out, she got to come out on the ice, and she got to hoist the cup with them.
That's cool.
And it was just a super cool moment. And then we talk about some of the players that played absolutely insane. There was Jordan Bennington, who was a rookie this year. He's like 24, 25 years of age. But for goalies, it's a little bit different because it's rare when they come in the league right away and start. So he started in the AHL, but then he got called up. And this was right after, I believe, I could be wrong, but this was right after their coach got fired. Mike Yeo got fired. Yeah. And then their intern coach came in, and Bennington started, making the starts, and he was absolutely ice cold for most of the games. He got pumped for 7 goals one game in the finals, but, you got a bad game, but, it happens. But this guy was a rookie this year in the NHL.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I remember last night when we were sitting watching it, I asked who the Blues goalie was because I'd never heard of him.
Yep,
and
he was a rookie.
Nobody else knew either. He was just nobody really.
Jordan Bennington, this guy is, from what I've seen, pretty cocky.
I would imagine.
I think that's an understatement. But if I'm going to be honest with you, I would rather have it that way. When I'm playing, I would rather prefer my goalie to be overly confident.
Sure.
I like it that way because then they're going to be good in net, and then, and it's absolutely nuts. And it was a funny thing because when the Bruins were on their stretch and they were winning a lot of games and Rask was playing out of his mind, they asked Torrey Krug, they said, have you talked to Rask lately about his, what has he been like since he's been performing this well? Krug's like, I haven't even spoke with him in like 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah, so like the goalies usually for the most part will stay to themselves. Goalies are always kind of a different breed, but this guy was, there was an interview too where it said, oh, are you nervous? I think it was for playoffs, and they were like, are you nervous for making the start? And he's like, do I look nervous? And they're like, no. He's like, there's your answer. So this guy, he's just ice cold, and there was a quote by him, and it was one of his teammates, Edmondson. He quoted him in a tweet where it said, Bennington was like, yeah, I spent $6,000 for tickets so my family could come. He's like, I'm not going to lose. Like, I'm not going to be out $6,000 just to lose. Yeah. So, like, it was just kind of sick. So, but yeah, that guy was an absolutely insane story. Ryan O'Reilly was he was the Conn Smythe winner, which means he was the MVP of the Stanley Cup Finals. This dude, I think, had a goal in 4 straight games in the finals, and the last person to do that was Wayne Gretzky back in the 90s. So, you can tell that's obviously a great performance from him. I think he ended up with a total of 24 points in playoffs.
Yeah, Ryan O'Reilly had a goal and an assist.
Yeah, so he played absolutely insane, out of his mind. He ended up being in Buffalo last year, and he ended up in St. Louis this year. So he absolutely turned it on. He is a great hockey player. He's completely underrated. He's a nice guy, too, which is what I like to see. He was being interviewed at the end of the game, and he he cursed out. Actually, he was just so excited. The dude won the cup, and he's like, oh, how's it feel? He's like, oh, fucking me. He's like, oh, my God. He's like, I'm so sorry. Like, he kept apologizing a bunch, and people were like, oh, yeah, that's a typical Canadian, just apologizing over and over. Yeah. But yeah, so he's just a good guy, and he's one of the most underrated players in the league. He's one of the, if I could build a team, I wouldn't say around him, but he's one of the key pieces I would want because he is an amazing center. He's a great two-way player, great face-off guy. So he's just one of those guys that you want. But it was absolutely it was just super neat to see this. St. Louis Blues really had a great story. Boston, I was happy with Boston because they absolutely destroyed the Hurricanes, which I kind of got my revenge. So I was happy with Boston. But, at the end of the day...
You didn't want the Hurricanes to win?
No.
Why?
They're annoying.
Well, I know, but they were the worst team in the league forever. And then out of nowhere, they're just nasty.
Dude, their Twitter... I don't know. I don't know if I get hate for this, but their Twitter is so annoying. Their Twitter's annoying.
Well, just don't follow them.
Their fans, I don't. They just, people retweet them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I might just meet them, but I'm not like that mentally soft. So like, I see their tweets. They're annoying. Their fans are annoying because they're a bunch of, Don Cherry said it right. And usually I don't agree with Don Cherry because I think he's he's just a guy that makes a lot of just really dumb takes, and
Yeah.
he's just one of those guys where he says dumb shit and it gets attention. But he called a bunch of jerks, and they made the organization made shirts that just had a bunch of jerks on them, and that was like their big thing that they kind of wrote off of the whole season.
I do remember something about that. Like, didn't they change their name on Twitter or something to like Big Jerks? Or
Big jerks.
Like
and Don Cherry one time was like, his response to them doing that, he's like, yeah, like I'm not even mad about it. He's like, in all reality, the St. Louis Blues or the Hurricanes fans are just a bunch of front runner fans. Like they didn't have all these fans like last year. Like they're just bandwagons.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm not even upset by it. He's like, I'm just calling it how I see it. So there was that, but yeah, they beat the Capitals in the first round, so you can obviously understand why.
And
then they were, and then the Hurricanes Twitter was just being absolutely annoying on Twitter when they won.
O'Reilly was the leading scorer of the Cup final with 9 points, 5 goals, 4 assists, and finished tied for the most points in the playoffs with 23, 8 goals, 15 points, with Bruins forward Brad Marchand 9 goals, 14 assists.
Yep. So yeah, he
That's
absolutely
pretty crazy.
He went off, and it's just like I was happy for him because they got to win a cup, but we can talk about. Do you remember David Backes? Do you remember him?
Yeah.
He's a Minnesota boy, but he was captain of St. Louis, and I believe they either traded him.
Does he play still?
Yeah, guess who he plays for this year?
Who?
The Bruins.
Ah.
He was the captain for them, and then he ended up, I think, either getting traded or signed to the Bruins, and he was a healthy scratch in Game 7. And he watched his old team win the cup.
I did hear that.
He watched his old team win the cup, and that one's probably got to cut deep for sure. But it's absolutely just nutty because I just think it's so funny because that's the cool thing about hockey is it's a long season. Anything could happen, and you can obviously see some surprises, but I think nobody saw this one coming with the Blues. I mean, look, they fired their coach. They were below 500 coming into the year.
And they're playing Boston.
They played Boston. They played some good teams to get to the finals. They played the Sharks. They were good. They played the Jets, they were one of my picks to get to the Western Conference Finals. My bracket, by the way, was absolutely destroyed. My bracket was so bad this year, and I think it was in the same boat with a lot of people as well. But I could talk on and on, but like I said, that's great news for them.
This is pretty cool. Rask allowed more than 3 goals in a game for the first time since Game 4 of the Eastern Conference, first round against Toronto Maple Leafs on April 17th. So that ended a streak of 19 games allowing 3 or fewer goals.
Yeah. Well, Rask was also, during the playoffs,
he allowed 2 goals on 4 shots in the first period.
Yeah. Rask, as you could use an analogy that he was harder than bird shit on pavement.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
Yeah, so so he turned it on in the playoffs too. He was, if they would have won the cup, I think he would have been my pick for their Conn Smythe winner.
Yeah.
But that was that. But O'Reilly put out his mind. Bainton played better. I mean, their guys just played. The Blues just outplayed them for the most part, and it was kind of funny because Big C, he bandwagoned the Bruins, and he sent me a picture before the game of him wearing a bunch of Boston stuff.
I saw he sent me a snap last night. He was wearing a Bruins jersey and a Blues hat, I think.
Oh, maybe he was. I don't know. But
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so he's just like, yeah, I was right. I picked the right team.
Big C, you're so goofy. Yeah. I know you're listening or watching. I don't know where you see our podcast, but
he's sitting in the chair. But yeah, so
yeah, you're goofy.
He and then you got to feel bad for Garrett and Amble.
True. Yeah, Jake was not happy.
Yeah, I'd be pissed.
But oh well.
I mean, he's got to see him win a cup before. I remember I was like about to.
Well,
I might have gone to the bathroom.
Did you see Dave? Do you follow Dave Portnoy on Twitter?
Yeah.
The Barstool president.
Yeah.
Did you see his video after they had won?
He's eating the popcorn.
He was just eating the popcorn. He's just like.
He's like, wasn't meant to be.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's pretty funny for
that.
sure. Yeah, no, he's absolutely hilarious. But what was I saying again?
I have no idea.
Before you were an asshat and interrupted me.
Well, we've been recording for 15 minutes, and I have said maybe 20 words.
Yeah, I can just talk and talk and talk. That's, it could be a talent or it could be the exact opposite where it's just.
There was something on this article that I wanted to read, but no, I forgot. No, I'm not going to be able to find it.
But yeah, so I mean, we talk about just how amazing this run was, and like I said last year when I was watching the Capitals playing, they were in the finals, right? So here's the thing with Washington. So
Mitch is a little bit of a bandwagoner.
This is true. So
do you remember in high school when your mom went to L.A. and got you an L.A. Kings hat, and then all of a sudden you were just an L.A. Kings fan?
I was? No.
Yeah?
Was I?
Yes.
They were pretty fun to watch. I think it was one of those things where I just liked good
Here
hockey.
We go.
Hey, I like watching good hockey. So, they were kind of a wagon at the time, but the Capitals, funny story on how I kind of started watching them was because growing up from Minnesota, I was a Wild fan, still am. But I was kind of thinking like to myself, well, they're in the West. I kind of want to like a team from the East. I don't know why I thought this or how what made me think this way, but this was right when Ovechkin got drafted in the league. So perfect timing. So I've been a fan of them for probably since 08, 09. Yeah, I think 08. I've been a fan of them, and what I will say about them is what makes it so frustrating. Being a Capitals fan, and Capitals fans can relate to this, is the Capitals have been pretty good for a lot of years. Like the past 10 years, they've been pretty good. What the problem with them is that they've been good, but they've always underachieved. There's always the jokes where they lose in the second round, and then that's it. Their season's done. It's like, oh, here comes another second round exit.
Yep.
So this year last year, I was so nervous, dude, because they played Pittsburgh, and they just won 2 cups in a row. And I'm sitting here like sweating bullets. I'm like, dude, they got to play Pittsburgh. Like they've never gotten past the second round. Like what's going to happen? Then they end up doing it. And now it's like they were kind of rolling, and then they beat Tampa in Game 7.
Yeah.
And I think they beat them. I don't remember what the series was. And then they went on to beat Vegas. And I remember I was so excited because that was the first cup they won, and I got to see it. And it just sounds like, I mean, you wouldn't really get it if, you're not really a sports fan, anything like that. But I was like telling myself, I'm like, dude, if they lose this series, I'm going to go in that bathroom and I'm going to blow my brains out.
No, you would not have.
No, I wouldn't have. But I was like, oh, dude, imagine like you get so excited and you go that far.
I was actually rooting for Vegas because I thought that would have been sick. Their first year in the league.
I would have been so mad. I would have been so pissed.
Even though I feel like a team should almost be nasty when they're brand new because they get to pick. What was it like? Was it 1 or 2 people from each team they could pick?
Okay, to be fair, these players were teams. Like, they basically just gave them away. These were bottom tier guys. Right. The only exceptions that you could maybe make was Fleury because they had Murray, who just won 2 cups,
right,
and who was younger. So it's like, okay, like, what do you do? I mean,
right.
So it's like, you're going to lose a good goalie either way. So they just were like, okay, we got to go with the younger option, which is what they ended up doing. And so they got him, and then that was basically.
Who did they get from the Wild? I cannot remember.
So I don't know if you remember this, but because you only can protect certain players. I think it's 10 players, so you can do like 7 forwards, 3D, and 1 goalie. You can do like 7 forwards and 4D and no goalie or something like that. But the Wild had a lot of assets, and they were a pretty deep lineup. So Chuck Fletcher ended up going to Vegas, and he just said, hey, look. Because Stahl just had a 40-goal season, remember?
Yeah.
And he's like, look, if you don't take Stahl, we'll trade you Tuch and Haula. Mm-hmm. So we'll give you 2 players if you don't take him. And that was like an agreement they made. So they traded Haula and Tuch to Vegas. So they were the Minnesota guys that were on the team.
Tuch, I don't remember.
Alex Tuch.
I don't remember him.
Yeah, so, and he actually played great in that year in the playoffs. And, so with the Wild, it's kind of, they're just been kind of.
Speaking of the Wild, I don't mean to cut you off, but did you hear that Mike Modano's coming back to assist? Who is it? Leopold, right? Mm-hmm. Leopold is the owner, awesome. The GM of the Wild. Right?
Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet.
So you heard about that? Where he's coming back to assist. So hopefully we don't make some bonehead trades like we have in the past.
Yeah, and I mean, when I'm looking back on these trades,
they're garbage.
They talk about. I wouldn't say that because the trades that were made sucked at the time, and they kind of suck right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I mean, getting rid of Coyle, I don't mind that because.
What about Niederreiter?
Niederreiter, I was pissed about.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I actually really liked Niederreiter. I thought he was a really good player. Coyle, he was just. I think we were paying him too much money, and he just wasn't really performing.
Yeah.
It's the classic trade somebody from the Wild and they start playing good type of story, because then he started playing for the Bruins and he was playing really well.
Yeah, well, the Bruins are his hometown team. He's a Massachusetts kid.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool for him. The Coyle trade I didn't mind because Coyle obviously got to go to a place where he was happy, so I'm happy for him. Got to play in the finals. And then we got Ryan Donato, who's a young kid. He's a good player. Pretty good. He's all around pretty good average player. He's cheaper right now, obviously, so that clears up cap. And then we traded Granlund for Fiala.
Yeah.
Little backstory on him. I don't know if you know
I liked
much about him.
Granlund too.
I liked
that bummed me
Granlund
out.
too. But Fiala, he is 22 years of age, so he's kind of around our age. This guy is a speedster.
Yeah.
He's fast.
He is pretty good, and I think he'll continue to develop. So
And he's gonna get his first contract now, so it'll be cheaper.
Sure.
So you get him, so you're getting a little younger and you're getting a little faster. But
Yeah.
the thing with Niederreiter I didn't really like about that trade was we got Victor Rask, who I think he's a good player, but he needs a skating coach. He's not a good skater.
yeah, he didn't really perform after we got him.
No.
Like, everyone was saying like, oh, he's gonna be, it'll be a good trade because he's a good player, but then he didn't really perform.
And it didn't really free up too much cap either with that trade. So I was kind of like iffy about that. And it sucks for Granlund because I liked him, and he went to Nashville, and he's going to be a free agent next year. And now I think he underperformed in Nashville. And I mean, you got to understand the circumstances too, where it's like, his son was just born, and he had to move and go play in Nashville, the new team. It's completely new for him. So I mean, you got to understand that too. But it's just as unfortunate for him, and I hope he does get a good contract coming up. But that's what you got with him. But you just kind of like look at these, and they're getting younger and they're getting faster, which is where the NHL's going. You look at these teams that are.
Well, you look at like the Oilers. They did like they went through the rebuilding phase where they were terrible because they had all these young guys.
They're still terrible.
Well, but last year they weren't too bad, were they?
They made the playoffs. Or are you talking about like this year?
I don't know. But I know that they were going through a rebuilding phase, and then they were actually pretty good.
As of right now,
while.
2 seasons ago they went to the playoffs, and this year they missed it. Draisaitl and McDavid both had 100 points, and they missed.
David's just nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang it. Keep talking. I got to take this.
Okay. Well, there you go. So Tyler's got a phone call, so let's what should we shift to? So we'll keep talking on that point. The Wild, like I said, they're just trying to get younger and faster, and that you can look at it from like from a GM standpoint where those trades kind of sucked at the time, but this is weird. This is weird to me. I've never had to just do this on the fly before, but yeah, this is what we got right now, but. No, I mean that's a pretty cool story for sure. With I mean it was a good hockey season. Let's just talk about that. Since Tyler doesn't really know much about sports, we can talk about football. Should we? Oh no, he's back. All right, we're not talking about football now. Look at that, dude! You just left me out to dry, and I looked like an idiot.
I'm sorry. You gotta take care of business when business arises.
Yeah, but
you were talking about football.
Well, I was about to, but
I'm gonna delete that. No, I'm kidding.
I was about to, but you're back now. But I don't know. What's the update for our minutes here?
We're at 25 minutes already.
25 minutes if you're tuning in, and I just basically talked that whole time.
Yeah, Mitch basically did. For those of you who forgot, I'm still here.
Yeah, you are still here.
So I was on Twitter this morning, and I saw that hashtag impeach Trump was trending. I know that that you would enjoy Trump. I don't mind Trump.
Look, you just got to expose me like that. Now I'm going to get death threats now.
Yeah, so we just lost half of our viewership, but
do that.
I don't know. I didn't really see exactly what it was all about, but it was something like people saying that he broke the law or something, or he's going to break the law.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just feel like people are taking... Like, he's been in office now for what? This is his second or his third year? Is his third year now?
He got elected in 2016. He got elected in 2017 technically, or he got
inaugurated
in 2017.
Yeah, okay. So he's been president for 2 years, almost 3. And I feel like this entire time, all that anybody really cares about is just trying to get him impeached. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're just wasting so much.
They always try to do that. I mean, it's just like, I mean, people do the same thing with Obama. They want him. It's just if you don't like the president, you want him out of there. But yeah, I mean, it's
whatever. That's politics. That's it. That's all that we're going to talk about politics, because we don't want to lose half our viewership. So
no, I mean, I just don't want to. I don't know.
Anyways,
yeah,
I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was kind of funny. So I just showed you this before we started recording, but there's a security camera footage that is circulating the internet pretty rapidly, and I've seen it on Twitter a couple times. I saw it on Facebook a couple times. I saw it on YouTube. It's on the trending page now. I think it was out of Colorado. It's a security cam clip that's only 10 seconds long that looks just like an alien.
Or how you think an alien would look, yeah.
Or how you'd think an alien would look.
Like the long arms, the weird head. Like.
Yeah, and the super skinny, like figure, but then like big feet and like this weird shaped head.
Yeah.
And like walking really weird. Like
yeah, it was
super
weird.
like
it's kind of look like,
what the hell would you call this? Like duck feet, like where your feet are sticking way out.
Yeah.
You know? And just like kind of stomping and like, I don't know. The first couple times I watched it looked just like an alien. But then I saw that some people were saying that it's just a kid with underwear on his head. Because it's black and white. It's in the middle of the day, or it's in the middle of the night. I don't know what to think about that. I mean, okay, let me frame it this way. Do you think aliens are real?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do too. So in my mind, I think it's an alien. But it could just be a whole hoax too, you know, just to try to get popularity and get something into the media. But it was funny because the video that we were watching, they had like that radio clip where somebody called in and said they wanted that they should form an alliance. Yeah. Like, what is an alliance gonna do? Yeah. It's like one alien, and then they're like, oh, it just walked into the field across the street. I wonder if it's still in there. Like,
yeah, it's weird, dude. No, but yeah, I definitely think aliens exist. I mean, you gotta think about, kind of dial it down a bit. Think about the ocean. Think about how huge the ocean is.
Well, I think
think of all the things that are in the ocean that we haven't even discovered yet.
Yeah, it's I'm blanking on the word to use, but it's like I want to say like narcissistic, but that's not really the word that I'm looking for. Ignorant. Yes, thank you. It's ignorant for humans to think that we're the only, you know, besides obviously animals and fish and shit, but we're like the only like human-like people in this entire world. Like, you got to think of how big the world, you know, the Milky Way and the galaxies and whatever. There's just so much shit out there that we just cannot even explore yet because it's just unreachable.
It seems like endless. Is it endless?
I think it is endless. I mean, it really is.
Just think about that though. Like,
I know.
It's weird. And then you have, I don't know if I have the words right, but think of all the different in the galaxy. And think about all these different sets of solar systems with their own sun and their own, you know, planets. And like for example, our solar system. Yeah. There's other ones out there. Right. So like it's kind of hard to think that there's, you know, maybe like it's not like how we picture it in our head where it's like the aliens with the long arms.
They're green and wrinkly.
Yeah, maybe it's like just like an animal looking. I mean, it's
right.
You know,
it's hard to say. I do know. And I might get roasted for this, and I don't know. You don't follow many conspiracy theories, do you? Okay, so I'm just going to put this out there. I don't know if I believe 100% of the conspiracy theories, but I find them very, very interesting to watch. Yeah. And I was watching one on Area 51, which is like I feel like it's the most heavily guarded base in the world. Like, there's no aerial footage of it on Google Maps. Like, it's completely blurred out. You cannot go within like 50 miles of it. I mean, there's like literally security guards there that are trained to shoot if you cross a certain line.
Well, when we were driving down to Vegas for that showcase, because
it's right over there.
I mentioned that.
Yeah,
you can see like the towers and stuff.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, watchtowers, like you can see them out of the distance.
And there's like
it's like Area 51 kind of near you, and it's like, oh shit.
And it's like a very strict no-fly zone, because I watched a video of just like a single pilot and just a little like single engine plane, you know, flying by himself, and he was recording it as he was flying towards Area 51. And then as he got closer and closer, air traffic control started threatening him, saying that they were going to like shoot his plane down and like all this kind of stuff because he was getting too close to Area 51.
Yeah.
And I know that that's where like a lot of our fighter jets come from, but I feel like it cannot be that top secret if all they're building is fighter jets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like one of the conspiracy theories is that years and years ago, I think it was like in the early 70s maybe, there was an unexplained crash somewhere in the United States. And I'm blanking, but it like created a huge crater. But there was no meteorite, there was no like sign of just like a meteor falling from, you know, from...
What's the difference between a meteorite and a meteor? I don't remember.
I have no idea.
Well, yeah, so it's
But it's essentially just rock falling from the sky.
Yeah.
And there was no signs of that. And apparently that they had found, like it looked like a spaceship had crashed. And anyways, the conspiracy theory is that they have aliens at Area 51. And it stretches a little bit far, saying that they've got some in like these tanks to keep them alive, and they interact with them and do tests on them and stuff like that. I don't know if that's quite the case, but
you ever see like the movie District 9 or what's the movie I'm blanking? It's like got Will Smith in it.
Maybe Independence Day?
Yeah, there's Independence Day.
I have watched it. That's actually a good movie.
Yeah. Will Smith movies are great. I love all his movies.
Speaking of aliens, there was this one movie. I don't remember when I watched it, but I feel like there was hardly any talking in the whole movie. It was like a 2-hour movie. It just came out recently, like maybe a year ago, where there's like this weird like this squared off like granite rock, I guess, that falls from the sky. Mm-hmm. And you have to wear spacesuits to go up into it, and then on the other end, so you're like crawling up like this. It's like a piece of glass, and there's like these weird like alien tentacles that like sign out different things. And it's like this whole movie about how these scientists go up there and are trying to communicate with these. By far the weirdest movie I think I've ever watched. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it was called, and I honestly don't know what it was about either.
Yeah.
But that's like one that has aliens. But anyways, I don't know. It's interesting to think that they would guard something so heavily if all they were doing was building fighter jets.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, but do you think how many minutes are we at?
33. Well, we've only got one more topic, and then we'll be done. So, I was listening to a podcast on the way home today, and I heard, and I don't know how I missed it, and you missed it too, so we're a little bit out of the loop apparently. Mike Posner is walking across the United States by himself.
Posner is a Posner?
I think it's Posner.
It's like...
That's what I said, didn't I?
Posner's like...
No, I think it's Mike Posner. Isn't it?
I mean, it doesn't matter. That's besides the point. Anyway,
Mike
keep talking.
Posner.
Here's some information.
Yeah. Posner.
Okay, all right.
Anyways, he's walking by himself across the United States. He's a month in, and he's only made it 320 miles.
Yeah.
So he's 1/10 of the way. So it's going to take him an entire year to walk all the way across, but he wants to do it for like some spiritual reason or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's kind of crazy.
That's
you got to
pulling some Forrest Gump shit.
Yeah, he literally looks like Forrest Gump too. He's got like long shaggy hair. Yeah.
That's funny.
Like when Forrest Gump ran forever.
How many days do you think that would take? Months
to walk across the United States.
Yeah.
Well, if he's 1 month in, and he's only made it 320 miles. Cross country, it's like over 3,000 miles.
It's probably a year.
So at least 10 months if he stays at the current pace. So yeah, I mean, really, with stops and weather and everything like that, probably take him a full year to do it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's That's pretty crazy. That's I mean, good for him. That's pretty cool.
I wouldn't do it, but yeah.
I wouldn't do it either. But that is going to do it for the Nymore Boys podcast. Mitch, you want to sign us off?
Yeah. Nymore Boys, go follow us on everything. Instagram, Nymore Boys. Facebook, Nymore Boys. Twitter, Nymore Boys. We've mentioned it before. It's all the same. Follow our Instagrams. Mine's MitchWeb98. And then yours is...
on Twitter?
Instagram and Twitter. Mine's the same for everything.
Oh, well, my Twitter is at I'm Tyler Monty. And is mine.
And then what's your Insta?
Instagram _ Tyler Montgomery.
Now, was that so hard?
No.
Okay. So
it wasn't so hard.
That's
I'm
our
sorry
social
I wasn't
media.
listening. I was thinking because
No, you're good.
I want to just mention, download the Anchor app on your phone. It's spelt just like a boat anchor. And find our podcast and follow us on there. That is the platform that we post all of our podcasts through. And they have a cool new, I guess you could call it a tool, where you can send in voice messages that then we can answer on the podcast. I know I'm setting ourselves up for maybe some not so great messages.
Who cares? I don't give a
But
shit.
I think that'd be really cool to try to incorporate in some of the future podcasts.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So it's super easy. It just shows up on our end. It's got everything built right in. So you record it on the app, you send it to us on the app, and then we can listen to it on the app. So it just makes everything nice and easy.
Yeah.
Check out NymoreBoys.com. Bud Light, please sponsor us. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We are now at 20 subscribers, so we're blowing up. We're at 30 subscribers. We're blowing up. That'll do it. Thanks for listening. Bye.